Welcome back, everybody, to the Dragon's Lair. My name is Wade, and this is my show, Let's Talk, where I talk about Warhammer 40k, and we're talking about Tyranids. So, this is the Winged Tyranid Prime. So, one thing to keep in mind is that the original Tyranid Prime, the Walking Tyranid Prime, has now been added to the Warrior unit, and it's like the Sergeant model. So just keep that in mind. That's where he went. We now have the Winged Tyranid Prime as a model, and that's new with 10th edition in Leviathan. I do not like the Winged Tyranid Prime. I don't like the model. The sculpt is what I don't enjoy. um, yeah, I don't like the sculpt. I don't like the unit because of its abilities and in the proportions of its abilities, but I can see some circumstances in which it might be useful. So let's talk about it. Movement 12. It's good, but because of the way that flying works now, you're going to have the issue. You have to measure the diagonal distance. So it's not just the horizontal. It's not just the horizontal distance anymore. It's the diagonal distance that you have to measure. So you have to measure the diagonal distance up, then over the object, then diagonal distance down the other side. We now have triangles and geometry and stuff involved, and basically the end result is flying means you move shorter distances. That's the end result. So 12 sounds really good. It's not. It's less than that, but don't be too discouraged. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. Toughness 5 is okay. You're still going to get melted. Because our monsters get melted so easily, you're going to get melted. It's okay against bolters or, las guns or pulse carbines, whatever fire warriors carry. Save 4 plus, trash. Trash, trashity trash. Try to get cover saves as much as humanly possible. 4 plus save on this model is trash. 6 wounds, maybe that might be what keeps it alive. And there is a world in which this model is useful. Don't get me wrong. Leadership 7, and that's okay because that's pretty good. Because if you look down here where the keywords are, when the keyword synapse is down here, that means the model gives synapse. So the Winged Prime is providing synapse. You could use him to scoot in real quick and be close enough to a unit to give it synapse. Which would then increase its likelihood of passing a leadership test, which may hold an objective for you. So its usefulness, in my opinion, is found in its movement abilities, its utility abilities. OC1, who cares about OC1? It's not gonna make or break. Maybe because he's with a unit, his one OC is what might give it to you, but that's a unit. Talk about weapons. Prime Talons, they're not really impressive, so he's only got a melee weapon, he doesn't have a shooting weapon. Keep in mind, any model, even if you don't have a ranged weapon, can sacrifice your shooting action to perform an action. So just because you don't have a gun, that doesn't mean that you can't perform actions to do secondaries and stuff like that. Of course you can. Yes, you can. So don't worry about that. 6 attacks, that's pretty okay on the face of it. 2 plus to hit, that's pretty good. Strength 6, that's okay. You're wounding Marines on a 3. That's pretty okay. AP 1 is kind of where it falters. 0 AP is not good. AP 1 is like bare bones minimum. So I always say good, better, best. AP 1 is good. If it was a 2, that would be better. 2 damage, that's good because you'll kill Marines with that. So it's okay. It's okay against light infantry, which is also where that is consistent with utility, a utility unit. So then take a look at what it can lead. So I've already done videos about Tyranid warriors with melee weapons and Tyranid warriors with ranged weapons, and I'm not a fan of the warriors either. I want to be. I wish the warriors were cooler stat-wise. I have a boatload of them. I'm in the process of magnetizing them all, but I don't think you should, in my opinion, I think you should either fly him alone by himself or with a squad of gargoyles. So when I do the gargoyle video, I'll do it suggesting that you use the Tyranid Prime as the leader for that unit. A big chunk of that is the gargoyles and the winged Tyranid Prime fly. They fly together. If you pair him with warriors that have guns or warriors that have melee weapons, you're going to lose his ability to fly. They won't gain the ability to fly. Keep that in mind. They don't instantly sprout wings. Okay? So I think he's much better used if he leads gargoyles. That's my opinion. Here's where I feel like his usefulness is kind of found with the utility angle. Now, keep in mind, I am shooting all these videos from the perspective of Invasion Fleet. It's my favorite. It's my favorite attachment. I think it has the most tools to win games. Leader, yeah, that's cool. Deep strike. Okay, so hear me out. A lot of people use lictors and neural lictors and things like death leapers. I love the death leaper to harass your opponent, to be able to control where they deploy, and deep strike is very useful for jumping behind enemy lines and taking an objective from them. Okay, that's a big deal. Infiltrate is what I paused what I was trying to think of. Infiltrators can affect how your enemy deploys. Deep strikers can jump into different table quarters to perform secondaries. And yeah, I am talking a lot about competitive play, but I'm just telling you what people use them for. And I think that's kind of, in my opinion, where the Tyranid Prime, the winged Tyranid Prime, his usefulness is kind of there, because he deep strikes. He's worth 65 points. So for 65 points, you get a really good movement, kind of tough, with the toughness and the wound count there. Model, if you got the 65 points and you need like a light infantry harasser or attacker, I think that's where he shines. I think that's where he shines. That's my opinion. Shadow on the Warp. That means if you have him on the table, he's in the game, and you have not dropped the Shadow of the Warp yet. As long as somebody with Shadow of the Warp is there, you can use it. Synapse, where it says faction Synapse, that means he benefits from being in Synapse. But then you read down below here, he generates his own Synapse, so he's always going to benefit from Synapse. It's a double redundancy, but whatever. Alpha Warrior, when this model is leading a unit weapons equipped by models in that unit have sustained hits 1. That's also a redundancy, because if you're doing Invasion Fleet and then your Swarming Instincts, you're going to have sustained hits 1 anyways. But if you notice down here where it says keywords, he is a Vanguard Invader. And where that becomes important is if you put him in a Vanguard list, he has the ability to fall back, shoot, and charge. That's just anything put into a Vanguard list can fall back and shoot. I don't think they can charge. Fall back and shoot. Anyways, but here's the big kicker. Anything that has Vanguard Invader here means that it can move, advance, and charge. Okay? That's pretty hot. So being able to move 12, advance for 3, you're talking about 15, and then charge, that's pretty hot. And I think he would excel in a Vanguard Invader list. My Vanguard Invader list has a bunch of Gene Stealers and a bunch of Trigons and a bunch of Winged Hive Tyrants. But that's just me. For 65 points, he's really expensive. If all you're trying to do is grab backfield stuff, you can use 20-point Ripper Swarms for that. And Ripper Swarms do shine at that, but, you know, it all depends on what points you have left and what you're trying to achieve. In the end, I don't like the sculpt of the model. The sculpt kind of insults me. I just don't think it looks good. It doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look imposing. It's, in my opinion, it's a bad sculpt, and the rules are not great with it. I would not use a rapid regen on him. I would let somebody waste their bullets on him and use him as a bullet sponge. That's just me. We here at the Dragon's Lair understand that you can spend your time anywhere on the internet. We want to say thank you for spending your time here with us at the Dragon's Lair.